Sports stories from the 419 in Northwest Ohio, brought to you by a voice you know. It's time to go around the area and around the Hearn.
Hello there, and welcome to a new edition of Around the Hearn. Big guest tonight, basketball coaches aplenty. St. Henry head basketball coach Eric Rosenbeck talking about his team who gets started on Friday in the tournament and kind of how the season has gone up to this point. And the coach of the OAC champion Ohio Northern women, Mark Huelsman, is also on the show. His team finding out their fate in the NCAA tournament. They will travel to Pennsylvania and Scranton. Looking for Michael Scott and a couple of wins this weekend, and we'll hear all about what he's thinking about, what is going on. But we have a dandy of tournament games going on in Northwest Ohio tonight. Actually, most of which in the next hour or so as I tape this. Boys games up in Upper Sandusky. He's got Defiance up there. Van Wert at Salina. That's on K94. Bath at Napoleon, I believe, is WNDH. Up that way, Arcanum and Versailles is on the Tiger. Cary and Liberty Benton. Columbus Grove and Bluffton on Z Sports Live. And that game is sold out, from what I'm told. Hicksville and Ottawa Hills. Tenora on Torah Rams Sports Live. My dude Keith giving you the play-by-play between Eastwood and Tenora. Paulding at Delta. Mansfield-Madison getting ready to hook horns with the Toledo City League champion Lima Senior Spartans. And Russia in the sectional finals. Why? Because things move quicker in the South. Taking on Tri-County North. Tuesday night games, you got Fort Jennings at Parkway. New Bremen at Ridgemont. Fort Recovery at USV. At Waynesville, Goshen, and Marion Local. Collide at Miller City should be a good one. That's on WZOQ radio. Myself and Nate Stidham on the call of that one. Continental at Crestview. Jefferson at Leipzig. Whereas my GPS says Leipzig. Botkins and Triad, Fort Loramie and Franklin Monroe, Jackson Center and Covington. The last three are all sectional final games. Again, why? Because of the South. Friday night, Van Buren or Elmwood will travel to Ottawa to take on the Titans, the champions of the Western Buckeye League. Upper Sandusky or Defiance will go to the Fieldhouse in Elida. Kent and St. Mary's, always a good one. Salina or Van Wert will go to Shawnee. Wapak at Anthony Wayne. Corey Rawson or Lincoln View at Delta St. John's in the Vatican. Knoxville against either LCC or Ada on the road. St. Henry will host the winner of Perry and Temple Christian. Minster gets Marion Local and Waynesfield. These are good games. Cary and Liberty Benton. Whoever wins that one, kind of survives it, will travel to Coldwater, to the Palace, the site of maybe the craziest ending of all the games that have taken place. Young Cam Elwer with the game winner in the corner with the four hands in front of him to claim the MAC. Lipstick and Adolphus Jefferson. Winner goes to the launch pad at Pinargoboa. Parkway or Fort Jennings will head to see Keith Newendorf in Audubon. Ayersville or Holgate will go to Antwerp and visit the Archers. Bluffton or Grove, they'll travel to Wayne Trace. And a Wayne Trace team coming off of a heartbreaking loss to Audubon by a point, despite 23 from Kyle Stoller the other night, missing one of their big guns throughout the course of the year. And Waite will travel to the Flag City to take on Findlay. Girls games, just one really in the area on Wednesday night. It'll be Botkins and Jackson Center in a district semifinal. Thursday night, the Midwest Athletic Conference gets in full swing in Wapak as usual. Minster and Bremen in the early game, Marion Local and St. Henry in the late games. Those are on at K94 or K943.com. Parkway to Ottawa Glandorf will lock it up at 6 o'clock in Elida. That'll be one half of that district because Allen East and Jefferson meet much different teams. Allen East is actually the favorite in that game by looking at the seeding. They're the 2, Jefferson's the 3. That's the late game at the Fieldhouse. Winners we'll talk about in just a second. Bath and Liberty Benton. That's always a good one. Bryan and Rogers will be at Miller City after Rogers has taken out a couple of teams in the WBL already. Wapak and Anthony Wayne and Findlay and Toledo. That's Notre Dame Academy. They're pretty good. We'll square off at Lake High School. Crestview goes all the way to Defiance to take on Stryker. Audubon Miller City at Ottawa Glandorf in the early game. Grove and Collide in the late game. Those games on Z Sports Live as well. Then Patrick Henry and Toledo Christian is the late Thursday night slate. Means Saturday, We're looking at district finals in the south side. Russia against either Botkins or Jackson Center. Loramie against either Fayetteville Perry or Middletown Christian. And then the final from Wapak at 6 has Minster or Bremen taking on either Marion or St. Henry. 6 o'clock in Elida. Actually, it's 6 o'clock in Ottawa. Grove and Kalida against either Alderville or Miller City. The game in Elida is actually at 2 o'clock. OG against either Allen East or Jefferson, presuming that the Titans beat Parkway. That's not an easy task. Basketball Players of the Year around the area. Gracie Freiberger wins the WBL Player of the Year for Shawnee, despite not winning the league. The Coach of the Year goes to Troy Yant. Titans get 3 out of the 4 awards. Tyson McLaughlin wins the Coach of the Year on the other side. With his second straight title, Colin White wins his third straight Player of the Year. For the young men, Ren Sheets, the NWC Player of the Year, and Kevin Sensabaugh, who's going to coach in his 500th career game on a Friday night when the Bearcats get started, is the Coach of the Year. Liv Lindemann on the girls' side and her mom Denise, the Player of the Year and the Coach of the Year. PG, well represented. Mike Lee, the Coach of the Year. Aiden Harris as the Player of the Year. Good dude. And Tyler Boris named the TAC and Division 7 Northwest District Coach of the Year at Toledo Christian. No surprise, Devontae Hill in the first year in the NLL with a Player of the Year accolade already. Jim Ruckey, the head coach of the Trojans, is the Coach of the Year. In the conference, Ava Unrast for Marion Local is the Player of the Year in the MAC, and that's the easiest part of how this goes because Beth Stribe is the Coach of the Year along with Mike Wiss, Tracy White from Versailles, and Nate Uhlenhake from St. Henry because they all tied for the conference win. The MAC list not out yet, but I got a sneaking suspicion that young Cameron Elwer, the Delta St. John's prodigy, is probably going to win that. And because they won the league, Aaron Elwer is a dad and a head coach. We'll take the Coach of the Year honors. Bowling on the boys' side, Coldwater and Otto Glandorf, each with their boys' team going to state. They'll bowl on Friday. First time the Titans have made it in another return trip for the Cavaliers. Swim and dive, Napoleon on the girls' side finishes 13th in Division II at the state contest last week. 8 at 24th, OG 36, Versailles 45, Botkins 46, Shawnee 48, Defiance 52, Archbold 57. Boys' side has St. Mary's going 45, Napoleon 52, Salina 55, and Bluffton 69. This is a long segment, too, because there's a lot to get to. The sectionals at Clyde in the D2 wrestling world a couple of days ago. Wapakoneta finished third in the sectionals at Defiance. St. Mary's finished fourth, usually meaning the top handful of teams go into the districts. Van Wert was fifth, Salina was sixth. Defiance, Shawnee, Bath, 7, 8, 9. Zane Russell from Wapakoneta finished second in the 106 in front of Owen Bates of Van Wert and Jeremiah Sisko from St. Mary's. Quentin Simmons finished third in the 113 for Defiance. Carson Pummel from Wapak, which I still think is a great wrestling name, he goes fourth. Kaden Malott at 120 finishes second. Then a trio of winners. 126 goes to St. Mary's Tate Heisey. Mason Ducott from Defiance at 132 and Skylar Kirk from Elida at 138. Zach Grieber from Salina, second in the 144. St. Mary's picks up a win in the 150. Bo Hertenstein with that number one. 165 goes to Caleb Turner from St. Mary's in second place, just in front of Reese Schnarre from Wapak. Wyatt Buell in a third of the 175. Third place for Cole Donovan in the 190 for St. Mary's. And then the exact same way that the WBLs went. Jace Nouse at 215 from Wapak finished first. Tanner Mealy finishes second from St. Mary's. And then at 285, Brees Bolenbacher from Van Wert finished second. The OG sectionals in the Van Buren world had Austin Haley finishing fourth at 215, and OG as a collective finishing 11th. Northwest Conference at Allen East, taking the sectional win at Lima Central Catholic. Columbus Grove, number 2. Spencerville in there at 8. At a handful of ones, Owen Beam from Columbus Grove, just a freshman, finished first in the 113. Gavin Grubb, the senior from Crestview, first to the 126. Jordan Neal, the freshman from Allen East, at 144. He got first. 150 belongs to Clayton McLean from Ada. Trenton Gatchell from Allen East, first to the 157 class. Kyle Lathrop, 165 for Columbus Grove. Allen East, Braylon Paxton at 175. He was number one. Mason Jurek from Maddox Jurek from Spencerville. Number one, just in front of Landon Moody, who finished fourth from Columbus Grove. Allen East's Brogan Paxton at number one in the 215 class. And Kaiden Culbertson, number two in the 185. Bluffton in the sectionals at Rossford finished fifth as a team. They got a 1 in Wyatt Nouse, the 113. Brendan Cross finished second in the 120. Jed Blackburn second in the 144. Evan Grotehouse third in the 165, and Kyle Basil third in the 190. So all of those kids will head on to the district round at Rossford, and that is a long look at everything going on. I promise you when we come back, there's basketball talk. We'll talk first to the head coach at St. Henry and Eric Rosenbeck, and then we'll talk about the Ohio Northern Polar Bears and another big run for them with head coach Mark Huelsman when we return here on Around the Hearn. Hey, you! Are you struggling to stay awake in the morning? Do you just need a jump start to your day? Then you need to find some Revision Espresso coffee from the Rubato Coffee Lab in Columbus Grove. Launched in April of 2019, Rubato Coffee is fueled by a passion for outstanding coffee, held by the owner and head roaster in Aaron Bremer. No matter what type of coffee you're looking for, RubatoCoffeeLab.com has it. Can't make a choice? Check out their sample pack. Rubato Coffee Lab in Columbus Grove. Made by locals who care about you and your coffee. Back now talking to St. Henry basketball coach Eric Rosenbeck, coming off a big win last night, 75-69. A pretty emotional night, though, because I have to say, I said this on Twitter, and I will say this to you. I absolutely love that you're a guy who appreciates everybody around you, who helps make the program what it is. And your director of basketball operations, Paul Hemmelgarn, you did a really sweet and special thing for him to honor him and what he has meant to your program. Kind of, how did that come about last night?
Well, it's been 25 years, and it just kind of came about through discussions of like, how long has he been doing this? We've kind of been keeping track at 15 and 20 and different banquets, and obviously, 25 is a silver anniversary and a big deal for a lot of people, including for us. And so if we can honor somebody that does as good of things as what Paul Hemmelgarn does, then we're absolutely going to do everything in our power to. And we thought it was bigger than just at our banquet, which our banquet's really important to us. It's a way to honor our seniors for sticking it out, et cetera. But for the community, because he does so much for them and loves the game so much. So all those pieces coming together led to us honoring him last night.
Well, it's always funny. I like to joke with him, and I even did it before the game yesterday of, because he's such a youthful-looking gentleman that I said, when you graduate high school and you stop helping out, I'm going to be very upset.
I've never known it without him. As a matter of fact, like about everybody in our area uses Huddle Assist now. And the Huddle Assist guy, the sales guy could not understand me. I kept saying, I don't need that. I have Paul. And then he kept kind of almost being borderline sarcastic of like, well, this Paul guy must be awesome. I'm like, I'm telling you, yes. Like, you think I'm crazy. Like, he is better than anything anyone on the planet can produce. Like, he's that good. And I'm not just saying this. And the guys, oh, he must be great. And I'm like, he is. I've told you that 5 times now. And I will stick with him forever for all my stats. I trust him more than anybody on the planet. You've been up around him. Like, the operation he runs with different kids over the years has just been phenomenal. He's the best at what he does, and he loves St. Henry basketball. It's kind of a release valve for him. So good for us. His release valve saves us just hours and hours of time. My wife's a coach. I see her stat and restatting, and I've talked to other coaches, and for us just to have Paul and trust for him live in game is just awesome.
So the lesson here is, if St. Henry's athletics department is ever broke, you can maybe just rent out Paul for a day.
He would make everybody broke because he deserves about $1,000 a day because he's that awesome.
But it is really funny because there is nowhere else I go that the guy will come up to me, and again, in Paul's case, he's such a wonderful human being of, hey, give me your email, and I will email you every stat every quarter. And sure enough, I look in, and I have 3 emails at the end of every quarter of anything I could possibly want to know. That's got to help you, though, be able to kind of at times look at and go, okay, what I see the game, but what are we not doing well? What do I kind of maybe need to talk about during a timeout of, oh, here's my backup of, see, we're not doing this well?
Yeah, it's all the time. Even in our games where it's end of the first quarter, how many offensive rebounds they have? 4. How many times have they scored off those? 3. Well, guys, they got 7 points off 4 offensive rebounds. Maybe we might want to check somebody out at halftime. To trust those stats, know what they're about is a big benefit. And yeah, we absolutely take it very seriously and know that he is, like I said so many times over, the best at what he does.
Last night, you guys are down 14-13 after one. You come back to get a 28-26 lead at the half. How was that game? I mean, other than nerve-wracking, because they were able to hit some shots. It felt like in the first half, Jackson Foster has that big 3. You get the momentum right before the half. But it seemed like he was just going to have a night, and you guys were going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, like he did get going, but it was great for us because the film does not lie. Like we're watching them versus Allen East and seeing their scores versus St. Mary's and Walpock, and we knew that they were a load, and I loved our energy, and so I was really happy to see us end up with a 75 spot because I thought that was what kind of cost us versus St. Mary's was our energy was just brutal. And Coach Timmerman, myself, Coach Ehlers, everybody on our coaching staff are diehard believers of the game rewards toughness and honors toughness, and people are mentally engaged. And so when we are, then we turn ourselves into a load. And the first half, there's a lot of opportunities that didn't fall, but just by playing hard and doing the little things right, we really got it going in the second half, and we're able to put up 47 in the second half, which is a big number. Defensively, we have all sorts of stuff to work on, which is great. With basically 10 days to our next tournament game, we can really dig in and rock and roll from there.
At the half, Evan and Luke have 16 combined. They end up with 50 as a collective. I mean, did you just kind of laugh at times of, okay, they're hitting these shots, and they're hitting kind of ridiculous shots at time of, those are 50-50 at best of whether they go in, but you were kind of getting the right roll.
Well, seeing that, but that's the thing. That's our kind of our belief system as a coaching staff. Like, I think those shots are about 20% when our energy's not good, and I think they're about 75 when our energy's good. And I could tell, and I was so glad they got rewarded because when they came off to the bench, we had guys that were painting, they were tired, they were breathing hard, they're sweating. And when we're doing that, it doesn't allow time for thinking. And we don't run a whole lot of sets. We're pretty much, we're going to go play basketball. But if you do it this way, because we've done it many different ways over the 15 years I've been here, then the guys that are on the floor have to bust it the entire time. And I thought we were. I thought defensively we definitely had some huge breakdowns that we can fix and show on film. But it comes down to the energy and the effort at first. And so, yeah, those shots that are questionable, they're just not nearly as questionable. Whereas we're St. Mary's, when we're shooting them, it's like, oh, we're just chucking the ball. And it is. It's like when seeing it live, everybody in the gym can feel it like, well, that's just a forced shot compared to others. Like last night where it's like, nope, he's got it, and go from there.
When you're removed from it, I imagine it's a different thing of when you get to the end of the game, you realize, I mean, that's a team better than 2-19. Is that a fun basketball game at the end? I mean, I'm sure it's not as much during while you're trying to figure out how to stop their shooting.
Fun all the way around. It was terrific. I loved it in game. I loved it after the game. I loved every part of it. They played their tails off, and they were able to get a bunch of offensive rebounds in the second half, which is more film for us. We did a great job versus St. Mary's, but a brutal job versus Delphus. So we got to get some consistency on the defensive end and on our blockouts. On our offensive glass, we have just been phenomenal all year. Our guys go, and they go hard, and we did it again last night, which was great. But I think one-on-one, just keeping guys in front and making sure we not only, touch somebody, but actually hit them and go check out will be big things for us to focus on the rest of the week.
One thing that has been a consistent force in your 15 years is playing at home. 121-32. You've got now 4 10-win seasons. You're 11-1 this year. What is it about playing in that gym that just turns you guys into a different animal?
I think St. Henry is one of the best basketball towns in the state of Ohio, and our fans are really well educated, and I don't know if every coach is going to say that in true honesty, and I do. I think our fans are actually, they know, and they'll let me hear about it when we're not competing at the right level or executing at the right level. And quite frankly, most of the time I agree with a lot of what they're saying. And so the town takes it very seriously. We get great turnout. Our pep band is awesome. Mrs. Hardings leads those guys. So you get all those factors involved. It can really, really help give you a home court advantage. And then we have the older school, early 1980s gym. It's got a little bit of uniqueness to it. So all those factors. And then obviously the most important thing, having talented players. You brought up Evan and Luke, and if you bring Logan and Devin and Hayden and Caden and Carter and Dom and Curtis and all those guys, they can play basketball. So, it's all those factors kind of wound into one.
I had not been there in a couple of years, I'll be honest with you, but when I walked in last night, I thought it is incredibly bright in this building with the all white and the paint they've done the last couple of years and those new lights. I don't know when that happened, but man, I feel bad for whoever signs a check for the electric bill.
Well, part of it is just the paint. We got a new painting job, and the whole basically 80% from basically where the red padding is up is white, and so it really just breaks it. And then whenever you have a lighter floor like we do, which is redone here in the last 4 or 5 years, it does. And and some of the new lighting, et cetera. So and there are some places where we go, and even back when I played at Rushi, like we had our gym was pretty dark back then. They're really letting it up since I graduated. But I know you meet some of these gyms are a little bit darker, and ours does have a very, very brightness to it, to say the least.
Speaking of bright and Rushi, they were pretty good when they came to your place in December. You start out by beating my alma mater on a Friday night, lose to Rushi as part of 3 straight tough losses, back-to-back on the road in overtime. When you go through those first 4 games and kind of the swing of emotions of how that works, I mean, where are you guys at going into the Loramie game before you rip off 13 in a row?
We were pretty broken. We had a lot of internal discussions, a lot of stuff going on within the team that we needed to get addressed. Shawnee's a really good team. Core's a really good team. Rushi's obviously a really good team. But we thought we had the Coldwater game. We definitely thought we had the Shawnee game. We're up 5 with 70 seconds, and they made plays and we didn't. We had to really self-check on who we are, what we wanted to be about. And I give these seniors all the credit in the world because they bought in, they listened. We were able to rip off those 13. I think Delphus was a perfect storm, and they just gave us a good old-fashioned butt whooping. And sometimes, unfortunately, we never want that to happen. It does. That's why the St. Mary's game kind of caught me off guard. I thought we kind of learned our lesson, and I didn't think we brought the right energy for us to learn our lesson. So for us to come back last night and persevere when they were obviously shooting the ball really well was great to see.
It must just be something about those blue and gold teams if you could just get away from those for the rest of the year.
Well, we're going to probably either see Minster or Marion Local, one of those two. We can get by LTC or Lima Perry, so we might see another blue and gold. We'll see how it shakes out and make sure we're getting ourselves ready.
We have talked before about kind of how the Northwest and the Southwest district sort of screws everything up with timing and of where everything is, but the last couple of weeks, the OHSAA has come out and said, full go with more divisions. We're going to put out 7 divisions. It seems like from looking at a lot of the numbers that the only thing that really changes is what your assigned division is. It seems like, okay, if you're D4, you go to 6 or whatever it is, that you take all the same teams with you. I mean, are you in favor of the way this has come about or not?
I'm not in favor of the way it's come about. No, it is what it is. Like that part, that doesn't get me too riled up because I think it's got some quality stuff inside there. But, just the idea of voting and being a member, the old John F. Kennedy asked not what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. Like with the OHSAA, I think some of these are really big decisions, and I wish they would look for input, and they kind of just pull the string, and I'm sure they have their reasoning for it, but it's like, hey, like if we're members and we're voting members, let's bring it to vote. And quite honestly, I think there'd be a lot of people that would vote yes for expanding divisions. How many and all that, that's probably why it's so hard. They're probably at a loss of like getting too many opinions on things and whatnot. But With that being said, yeah, it's not going to change a whole lot for us. I think basically all your non-football schools would be D7 plus probably about 30 or 40 of them. So maybe somebody like New Bremen or Minster's a little bit smaller than us might go D7. Then all your Rushys, Jackson Centers, Fort Jennings will be D7. So for us, we'll go from being the big boys of D4 to the small guys of D6, which is fine. Like in the end, you have to play really good teams one way or the other. And we'll make sure we're ready for whoever's in front of us whenever that time comes.
But it is kind of an oddity, though, because it's kind of two straight decisions. First comes the RPI, where it's, okay, we're going to take one thing out of the coach's hands of you guys aren't going to get to, and it's been accused of maybe play politics or vote for your buddies or whatever over the years. And you said it perfectly. You still have to play everybody, but it does seem like from the outside that a lot of these decisions are getting made somewhere other than the people that they will most affect.
Yeah, and I guess that would be for somebody that's above my pay grade to comment on or to see. I know I've tried to make my voice heard with different folks at different levels, and sometimes we get responses back, sometimes we don't. But yeah, I mean, no disagreement with you. With that being said, to harp on it at this current moment, I just don't know what that's going to accomplish. It does. I wish there was a little bit more feel of being like a team compared to being directed at, but I'm sure there's people at St. Henry High School that probably feel the same, that I make choices and they say, I wish the principal would do more to include instead of, and sometimes it's like, well, there's a lot of factors that person A, B, or C doesn't know about. So, I don't want to wag the finger at people, but I do wish that there was, more discussion on some of these really, really big, important topics like expanding divisions, et cetera.
Have you tried to just kind of point those people to your Twitter and say, I think you need a joke?
No, I would not do that to them. They have better things to do with their time than look at that. JOD.
Well, I will say, again, I've said this before, but I thoroughly enjoy them, and I may have stolen a couple of them and set them on the air the other night and had Nate just look at me of, where'd you get that from? And then realized, was that from Eric? Okay, I'll let it pass.
Yeah, that sometimes happens for sure, no doubt about it. But yeah, it's it's getting ready to be tournament time. We're going to give it our all, and kind of roll from there, man.
Well, I thank you so much for all the help, and I wish you guys the best of luck going down the tournament trail.
Yep, you guys stay well.
That's Eric Rosenbeck, the head coach at St. Henry. We've got more when we come back here in just a couple of minutes.
The Scoop on Main in Glandorf, serving breakfast, lunch, and sweet treats all year long. We are open Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. and Friday from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Saturdays are 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. and Sundays are noon until 8. We have a great option of lattes and specialty drinks. We feature a monthly special lunch, and we have soup seasonally.
The Scoop on Main at 419-538-5555. That's the Scoop on Main at 136 South Main Street in Glandorf.
Anyone who knows me knows that I have long been a fan of girls basketball and women's basketball, and specifically, last handful of years I've got to do some Ohio Northern basketball, and long before that happened, one of my favorite people in the world who I would see in just completely random places is now the head coach at Ohio Northern in his fourth year, Mark Huelsman. Big week for you guys. I mean, win the OAC tournament. Now you get to go play almost 500 miles from home, but not quite, in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. It's better to be playing anywhere, however many miles from home, than not playing. So just grateful for that opportunity. Another really cool experience for our players. They've earned it. This group's been through a lot this year, and they've persevered, and we started getting good and playing well the last, 2 weeks of the season, I guess. And we've been able to keep winning. So I'm glad we get the opportunity.
But maybe what a lot of people who aren't around the program don't realize is that last 2 weeks that you're talking about, you're coming off those back-to-back losses on a Wednesday and a Saturday where you were sort of trying to find yourself. And then it's kind of akin to getting an all-star back in. Your senior, Kristen Luersman, coming off a tremendous year a year ago, second-best rebounding year that the program's ever had. But you get her back for the first time. You have to kind of massaged to get her back in that lineup. But boy, oh boy, when she hit the ground running, your Bears just took off.
Yeah, she's. I don't have a better term for it. I kind of decided she's just the heartbeat of our team, and like when you get that, even if you would get a heart transplant, it's still not the same. And so when she came back, just that boost to everyone, right? To everyone's confidence, to everyone's mental well-being, I think. Just how proud they were of her and how well they want to play for her because they know what she's been through and what she's had to deal with. It's just been incredibly uplifting for us. For me, it gives me somebody I can yell at practice, and she kind of looks at me and smiles, and we just keep on going. So it's been good for me that way, too.
That's the secret. Without her, you guys start 2-3 early on. 3 teams in that 5 who are headed into the tournament on their own right. But you're kind of trying to find yourself. I mean, you win 4 straight. You go out to Vegas and split those 2. You're going into January. I mean, how are you kind of feeling about what that season's going to be like?
I mean, we got off to a slow start. We're playing a really hard schedule that we put together because we had a really good group coming back, and then we were hurt. We were hurt. We were sick. We hadn't been able to practice as a group very much together. And so we just didn't have the continuity you have to play the quality of competition we were playing. So, they were all close games. We didn't get embarrassed at all. They were all competitive. We were in every game in the fourth quarter. And we just weren't quite ready to win those games at the time. You go out to Las Vegas and you're going out there for the experience. We have kids that have never been on an airplane. We got kids that have never been to a place like Las Vegas. And we end up playing 2 really good teams. We beat a team in Trinity out of Texas who's really, really good. It's a traditional program, NCAA tournament every year. They're in the tournament again this year. So, they're really good. And then we came back the next day and short turnaround. We played Laverne College out of California. Again, another traditionally good program. And we didn't make any shots the second day. So you're not going to play good teams, not make shots and win. Like, that just doesn't happen. So you lose that game. It's a split. And by the time you get back to Ohio, what I'm worried about the first week is jet lag. Like, are we going to get our legs back? Are they going to get their body clocks turned around? And, we won both games that week. So, you're going into league play. So it's Wednesday, Saturday for whatever that is, 5 weeks, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks of Wednesday, Saturday. So it's a grind. You got to try to get healthy. You got to take care of your bodies. You got to prepare. And you got to play really well on Wednesday and Saturday for 7 weeks in a row. So it's hard, but that's okay. It's supposed to be hard.
I've made that trip a handful of times back from Vegas. First of all, it's the saddest plane ride ever because the airport is right down there. You turn to your left as you're boarding to get on, and you see the strip. I think to me is the hardest thing to do, but then you got to get on the airplane and fly away from that to go back to. It wasn't great weather early in January when you guys had to go to Otterbein.
It was a little chilly.
Well, especially coming back from Vegas.
It was chilly in Vegas. I was wearing shorts because I'm me, but I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like it was 75 and sunny out there.
I personally think you should have been able to play those 2 games under aggregate scoring because you lost by 7, you won by 7, right. You just pretty much just call it a wash.
Yeah. I hate ties.
Well,
and I'm impressed that you used the word aggregate correctly there, just in the flow of
I've been hanging out with Rich Bensman. That's kind of what happens.
Goodness gracious.
That's my entire goal in life is to impress Rich Bensman on commentary. But, I really have gotten to see your team and to see your team grow throughout the course of the year. You had those couple of hard losses, Baldwin Wallace, and then you come back after losing to Capital back-to-back games in a 4-day span, and you just go on that streak where you just blow out pretty much the OAC the rest of the month. Couple of hard losses. What did you learn, though? Because that second Baldwin Wallace loss, February the 7th, 72-71, was a heartbreaker in that it sort of ebbed and flowed back and forth. I've got to imagine that you're one of those guys that learns more in a loss than you do in a win.
I mean, I try to learn something no matter what the result is. I think that's my job. I don't know. I mean, we lost by 1. We lost the game on a difficult. I mean, the kid from BW made a great play. Gave her credit. Knocked down the 2 free throws to put them up 1. We still had the possession there with 1.8, I believe, on the clock, and we got a shot off that it could have gone in. But I mean, Bryn had 32 already, so the idea that I'm upset that she didn't get to 35 is pretty ridiculous. I think what it showed our players is that our good is good enough to compete with everybody. And we just had to worry about being good and getting better so that we could be good all the time. And I think that approach really helped us through the close of the season. We just played better. You know, the game at Marietta on whatever that was, the first Saturday in February, we were really poorly coached that game. And we got dump trucked, and we deserved to because we were really poorly coached, poorly prepared, and just not good. So, you know, we got what we deserved that day. It was my fault. And I think, I don't know, after that, we started playing better. We got some confidence and just played better. So, you try to learn something no matter what. If you have to lose to learn something, you probably shouldn't be in coaching.
That is the words from the coach of the OAC champion, Ohio Northern Polar Bears, Mark Huelsman, by the way. Since that point, though, 5-1 in your last 6, beat Capital, went to Wilmington, won, had that tough loss at Muskingum. But then you get to the OAC tournament. You guys beat up on John Carroll. It seemed like in the first half, anything you drew up, anything you threw up was going to go in. That big win, and then you carry over the momentum of, you know, people are kind of looking at, all right, defending champions, you guys are a different team in that you've got a tremendous player back. You're able to work her in. Everything's kind of going your way. And then just everything went your way in that first half in Berea. Yeah, but I think that's because of how we were going at it, Michael. Like, we played really, really hard, and we played really well together on offense, and we were really connected defensively, and we rebounded the ball well. At least we did on Tuesday and Thursday. And I think the results were because of how we were going at it, because of how we played, because of our process. I don't know. I think the basketball gods reward toughness. They reward basketball being played the right way. And I think that's how it should be. So yeah, I don't know. We were doing it on purpose, as best I can put it, I guess. You beat number 1 on the road. You turn back around and have to go, not a great trip to Marietta. You go down early, kind of are able to get set and get everything going. You're down 32-30 at the half. You guys kind of fight throughout that whole game. But what was it about the fourth quarter? You outscore them 20-9 to win 63-55 that team just stuck to it and just said, no, you know what? This is our time. We're taking that trophy back to Ada.
We've got kids who have played in big games their entire lives. You know, everybody returning and we played in some big games last year, so we got all our upperclassmen who are back, who have had to perform in big games and big moments in crunch time. You know, Kristen had to carry the load for her high school team at Fort Jennings through 4 years. Bryn played on a really good high school team in northern Pittsburgh, so they were playing in big games her 4 years. Layla Dials played in the regionals at Willard, I think, every year for her high school career. You know, Abby Akamine played in a really good high school program out in Hawaii. Noelle Ruane's been playing in district semifinals and district finals for her career at St. Mary's. Abby Dixon played for her dad in high school, and they played for a district title every year. Mackenzie Sopranos played in state. You know, Gabby Croft played in big games. Chloe Glenn's played for however many state titles she played for in her 4 years at Ottawa. So, you know, we've got kids who have had to be good in big moments. And so you challenge them to do it, and they do it. And they're not afraid. And, they're not afraid to fail, which I thought was really important. They play with great confidence, and the ball went in. We made some free throws down the stretch, and we've got as good a closer as there is in the country. And so we give her the ball a lot in the last 3 minutes, and she makes a lot of really good decisions. So that's what happened in the fourth quarter, I think.
Statistically, there has never been a player at Ohio Northern the likes of Bryn Serban. She's one of only one player to do half the things that she's ever done. 1,000 points, rebounds, assists, steals, free throw shooting, three-point shooting. But what is it about her as a leader? Because you have a pretty young team that you're able to put freshmen and sophomores in there, give them 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, and know that if she's in a rotation with them, whether it's during that game or during practice, that they're going to come out better because of it.
She's just steady, Michael. She gives other people confidence. She's really hard on herself, but the way she talks to her teammates is the polar opposite of how she talks to herself. And she just gives everybody confidence. She creates good shots for them. She makes life easy. She plays so hard, and she plays hard in practice. She doesn't take plays off. She doesn't take drills off. She's been here, 4.5 seasons. I count the COVID season as a half a season. And she hasn't taken a day off from practice in 4.5 seasons. She hasn't taken a drill off in 4.5 seasons. And so the impact that has on your team is immeasurable, I think. Because, are you going to cruise? Like, if you're a young player, are you going to cruise through a drill if you watch Bryn going at it, and now you're going to cruise because you don't like the drill or what we're working on? Like, no, you're not going to do that. So that's part of it. She's got really good parents, Michael. Her parents they're just really good people. They have their priorities straight. They want the right things for her. They give her such good perspective, and she's the total package. She impacts the game at both ends of the floor and everything in between. And her numbers show that. And again, the things that you don't see are who she is as a person. You don't see who her family is and the way that they support her and our program and the other players in it and me as a coach. You don't see how she approaches practice every day. And she just sets a really high standard, and she drags people along. And it's been terrific.
Tournament coming up. You guys are going to go visit the Scrantonians. Way out there on the other side of Pennsylvania. Maybe you can pick her mom up on the way. But when you kind of look at how your run has been, last year you host those pods. This year you go on the road as the OSC champions. How odd is it of waiting till Monday afternoon of, okay, let's see our number come up when you've got Baldwin Wallace in there and you've got Trine in there and you've got Ohio Wesleyan, you've got all these teams that are so close to, okay, where's our pod coming up? Where are we going?
Yeah, it's good because we knew we were in, so it was less stressful. We knew our name was going to come up. It was just a matter of where it was going to be. 500 miles gets you a lot of places. So,
luckily, you've only got to go 490 miles.
Well, the NCAA did us a favor there.
Right, because they sent Baldwin Wallace 493, so.
Right. So, I don't know. It's more about who you're playing and what pod you're in and, okay, where are we going? Because you have to know those things so you can figure out the logistical stuff. When you're leaving, when you can leave, what the NCAA pays for, what days they start paying for things, all that stuff. How many people do they pay for? All the logistical stuff that has to get done. Those are the biggest stressors. And then, eventually you get done with the logistical stuff and you can try to prepare to play a basketball game. The hard part is you got to get ready for 3 really good teams. It's not, there's all the bad teams are out now. So you have to get ready to play 3 really good teams. You've got 2 days basically on campus to do it. And that's just what it is. So that's the hard part for us.
I know there's a lot of work, obviously, that goes into this team from talking to you, from seeing your team. But, I mean, when you look back at this so far this season, what you guys have accomplished and kind of the way this team has had to come together a couple of times with circumstances, how much fun has just being around this group been? Because I see that it looks like this is a pretty loose but pretty well put together group of they all seem to like each other.
Yeah, they do. They all get along. How much fun? I'm the wrong guy for fun. I do the job the wrong way. I don't have enough fun. I've got to find a healthier, better way to do the job. But I love our kids. They're really good people. They come from really good parents. They've got their priorities straight. We've got really good students. Our team GPA in the fall semester was like 3.5 something, and our kids are in pharmacy, they're in engineering, they're in nursing. We've got an accredited business college, so those courses are difficult. They're in hard stuff. We got kids on the bus studying, going to and from games, reading words that I can't pronounce, and they can spell them right. And so
how do you know they're spelling them right?
It looks good. Well, yeah, that's how I'd guess it too.
Sure.
So they're really good. They're fun to be around that way. I don't know. Like I said, I've got to do a better job of how I go about this, so it's more enjoyable. But like, our kids are really good to be around, really fun. They're probably a little too loose for my taste, but players playing tight has never been good for anybody. So,
well, I love your program, and I can't thank you enough. And I hope that it all works out starting this weekend.
Thanks, Michael.
That's Mark Huelsman, the head coach at Ohio Northern University. We've got some more when we come back in just a couple of minutes. If you're looking for an award-winning service and parts department with a distinguished history in the community, look no further than Lee Kinsel Sales and Service at 650 West Irvin Road in Van Wert. Are you seeking a new Chevy, Buick, or GMC, or pre-owned vehicle? Then be sure to check out our website at leekinsel.com or drive over today to Van Wert and see why we guarantee the best service after the sale you can find. That's Lee Kinsel Sales and Service at 650 West Irvin Road in Van Wert, Ohio, or online at leekinsel.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
See my daddy. Now go hunting. I'm done.
Welcome back, Final Time. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation with Eric Rosenbeck and Mark Huelsman, and a look at everything going on. A lot of basketball going on tonight and tomorrow. I encourage you to get out and watch. There are some great games around the way. You can also, if you happen to see any of the news guys from WLIO, it is hashtag MustWatchTV or Tyson Time or Dave's Here, Man. Those are my social media platforms that I'm trying to make a big thing and get those guys recognized for all the hard work that they do. You can also hit me up with scores as well at Michael Hearn PvP throughout the course of the season. I'll try and get up as many as I can, and some great guests coming up on this show as well. But thanks to Eric, thanks to Mark, and thanks to you for listening. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow from all of us here at Around the Hearn.
Here I go. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Around the Hearn. Come back next week for more local stories from the NWO. But until then, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Michael Hearn PBP for more great area content.